So Gionee's been making mobile devices from around about 2002, and you probably actually never heard of the company Gionee, and that seems to be the case with a lot of small developer mobile companies that are based in either China, India, or even sometimes Singapore. So there was a time when these small developer companies could not even come close to the quality that we'd expect from Samsung, Sony, and even HTC. But in the recent years now, these companies are really starting to create some mobile phones that are really starting to give those top flight companies like Samsung, Sony, and HTC a real run for their money. And the Gionee Elife E7, one of Gionee's earlier flagships, is one of those phones that are definitely in that competing category. Hey, what is up guys, Adam here, and this is going to be the full review of the Gionee Elife E7. So starting off with the design of the phone, now it's definitely not the thinnest phone out there. It comes in at around about 9.7mm thick, and there's many downs to the protruding camera at the back. Now I'm going to get further onto the camera further on in the review, so definitely stay tuned for that. And the majority of the phone is made out of a polycarbonate glossy plastic, which means it's going to be a fingerprint magnet, and you can get it in a variety of colours if you are based in India. Now you can get it in green, orange, blue, and you can also get it in pink, black and white if you are based in India. If you're outside of India, then you can only get it in black and white unless you get it directly imported from India. The volume and power buttons are quite tactile and also have a metal rim around the outside of them. Now the problem I saw with the power button is that it's right at the top of the phone, and because it's a 5.5-inch display, so it's the largest phone, it's difficult to go ahead and reach the power button, especially if you have smaller hands. Now, I have pretty large hands and I still struggle to go ahead and reach the buttons. I would have preferred if it was just below the volume rocker on the side of the phone instead. So though you can see two speaker grills at the bottom of the phone, only one of those speakers is going to be very active, the other one is just there for decoration, but bearing that in mind, you're still going to get good sound quality overall anyway. So the headphone port is going to be positioned at the top of the phone, whilst the micro SIM port is going to be positioned on the left of the phone towards the top. And of course we're going to be presented with a beautiful 5.5-inch IPS Full HD display that has fantastic viewing angles. So moving on now to the specs of the phone, we're going to get a quad-core Snapdragon 800 processor, as well as 32 gigs of RAM or internal storage. We're going to get 3 gigs of RAM, a Full HD 1080p IPS display, 3G support, as well as a 2500 mAh battery. And I personally think the battery is a slight weakness for this phone. I think it should have been around over 3000 mAh, especially taking the full HD display into consideration. So taking the price into consideration, the price being 120 Great British Pounds or $190 US, this phone has some killer specs. And we've seen many phones that have high-end specs but have a low-end price, such as the Moto G and the Nexus 5, but this phone in its own class here, the Gionee Elife E7, is a cut above those two, especially with that 3GB of RAM and that full HD display. So the phone looks really good on paper in terms of specs, until we get to the stock OS, which is why I've been using the Nova launcher for most of the shots that you've probably seen in this video. So initially at the phone's release, it did come with Android Jelly Bean, but they went ahead and upgraded it to Android KitKat, and it's running a very terrible skin over it called Amigo UI 2.0. It's kind of like a very bad version of iOS. Everything's just scattered all about the home page, and it only allows you to have 12 apps per page, which is really poor use of screen real estate. And of course there's going to be no app drawer and there's no widgets, so it's just a really bad interface to use. It's not really user friendly at all. It's just a very poor version of what I would like to say is going to be similar to iOS. Now the phone does come with some bloater, but it's not enough to hinder the performance, especially with that 3GB of RAM, and of course you have the option to go ahead and root the phone if you wish to do so. Now this phone does support NFC, as you saw in the unboxing. You get 3 NFC tags. Now this phone's also going to come with smart gestures, such as being able to double tap the screen to go ahead and wake it up, or you can go ahead and draw certain symbols on the home page to go ahead and enable certain apps to open. Now I'm really impressed that this phone allows you to watch YouTube videos in 1080p, because a lot of phones out there that do support a full HD display only allow you to watch YouTube videos in 720p, so I'm really impressed that this phone allows you to watch YouTube videos in full HD. So one of the main selling points of this phone is going to be for its 60 megapixel rear facing large sensor camera, supported by LED flash. That's going to be fantastic for taking images in low light and where the light is not really as strong as it should be. And at the front we're going to get a 8 megapixel front facing camera as well, which is going to be fantastic for taking all of those selfies that you like doing. So this phone has super fast autofocus as well, which is going to be really good for taking those bokeh kind of shots. And you're also going to get a really fast shutter speed for taking those images where time is of the essence. So the video quality is going to be as equally good as well. We're going to get 1080p at 30 frames per second at the rear facing camera, and then we're going to get 720p at 30 frames at the front facing camera. So to go ahead and sum this review, I can definitely say that the pros of this phone is number one, that 60 megapixel rear facing camera, as well as the 8 megapixel front facing camera, and the full HD 1080p display is also going to be something to shout about as well, especially with the YouTube 1080p compatibility as well. And the final pro is definitely going to be the price. The price is coming in at around about £120, as I mentioned before, and for that price you really cannot go wrong with the specs that this phone is carrying. So as far as cons go with this phone, I can definitely point out two cons of the phone. Number one is going to be, of course, the design. It's not going to win many points. The design, it's not the most attractive looking phone out there. And the second con is definitely going to be Amigo UI, which is going to be the Android skin. I just really don't think that this software actually benefits the phone in any way, shape or form. So anyway guys, that's pretty much been the full review of the Gionee Elife E7. I don't really get to do many phone reviews on this channel, so this has been a really fun video to go ahead and do. And if you enjoyed it, then don't forget to give me a big thumbs up down below. And of course, go ahead and subscribe if you want to go ahead and see more tech videos. Thank you for watching, take care, and of course, I'll see you guys in the next tech video. Bye for now.